alive! It's alive! And I will be too if I make sure that I set the oven real quick here while we're waiting for people to filter in. Because my wife wants something to cook at a certain time. Okay, so let's talk about Kribs, baby. Let's talk about Moliwe. Let's talk about Nigerian red ones. And the other ones, dwarf cichlids. Real bad song. Any case, so tonight I'm making a video. A couple things have just kind of changed recently. I guess you don't really need to look at my face so much. So as always, we'll do question and answer if you want to interject. But I wanted to just do an update because I got a couple things going on. Hey, what's up, Cecilia? Welcome. I wanted to do a couple updates because I've shuffled a lot around since the Aquascaping contest, and that went really well. I wanted to thank all my fellow competitors. What's up, Patricia? Welcome in, everyone. Come on in. Come on into my party. I was singing a song earlier. It's real awful. What's up, Buster? Welcome. So, basically, I've got lots of stuff going on right now, and I wanted to update you guys this way because it was just too hard to make a bunch of videos, little videos. So I'd do this and a question and answer. So it's kind of an impromptu one, also because Sunday my live ones were, I was so drained after we took care of Dustin. He got into town from Dustin's Planted Tanks on Thursday night. His plane was 7 hours late. He was up 27 hours. I was up like 23. And so it was a long weekend. We went and saw a lot of cool fish shops. We went and saw some really special breeder rooms. Dean Tweedle being the apex of that. He had some corridoras and stuff that he brought back from the Amazon that I haven't seen, and we don't know the scientific name on yet. We're still trying to figure it out if it has one. But yeah, so really cool weekend, lots of great people. I met Joel from Corvus Ocean, sorry, I always say it wrong, Corvus Ocean, from Real Fish Talk. So he came to the contest, took some pictures of the participants and stuff. But most of all, I really wanted to thank all of my fellow participants in that because it was, we were all kind of new to the competition type aquascaping and not having to worry about keeping your substrate balanced and things growing in over time. It was kind of like a set it, leave it for 5 hours or do it in 5 hours and then get judged on it thing. So I brought fish, and let me tell you about that real quick, just a little bit. Also, I'm going to show you right now that I'm not bluffing on if you can see that, I've got 6 new Kribs. They're going to be little beauties. Also, I moved some of my not cold, but as in temperature, but cold, C-U-L-L-E-D, shrimp into this bigger tank. I'll flip it around so you can see better later. But they have grown phenomenally in with big fish. I don't know if they're just getting stressed and having to swim around or if they're eating the muln and stuff that falls down to the ground. But they've grown at least 3 times faster than their counterparts down in the lower tank down there, or even in this tank. So there's something magical going on in this tank where my hair is out of control. I'm sorry, guys. So let me tell you a little bit about the day of the aquascaping contest. I still have all my aquascaping junk back here. I took 37 plant species with me. I took 1 aquascape and 500 pounds of jade. Low grade jade, that is, not like the translucent jewelry kind, but the jade that you get in Washington State with quartzite bands and calcite bands in it sometimes. Metamorphic jade. It's really pretty rock when it's wet. Turns out the light system, they were Dustin's lights, so they have red for growing plants. We don't need plants during a contest like that. Quit fussing with my hair. Okay, here. We're done with the hair. Just no more hair. Okay. But yeah, so with his setup, the lights were his own brand lights, and they were red for growing plants. But the red totally canceled out the greenish blue hues in the jade, which was kind of a bummer because everyone was like, oh, look how pretty it is under the natural light. And then we got his lights for the long term, using him in a short term thing because, you know, it's his event and I get him plugging his lights. And he was really kind, really cool guy. We had a lot of fun together. We hung out, went and got fish and chips at Ivor's in Seattle, which is kind of a Seattle thing. Everyone usually goes to Dick's Drive-In, which is like a burger place that's been here since the 50s. But I thought I'd take him the fishy route since, you know, he's the fish guy. So the morning of, I was in a hurry because we'd been out late. Yeah, the rock is pretty. But it's okay. The rock went home with all the competitors who used it. I just let them keep it. And then 100 pounds of it went to Aquariums Zen, the shop that you saw most recently if you were watching my channel that Dustin and I toured. He should have a video that's edited with music and everything and some more extended interviews coming out. He's also got the video on some of the fish rooms and things that we were touring, and those are a little more in-depth than mine because I was filming with him, you know, so there's going to be shots where I'm the one behind the camera. So that's kind of the deal with that. Also, I brought my DSLR, got some really high quality pictures of some of the cool Amazonian fish that just came into the country a few months ago and that are hopefully going to be bred and then spread to fellow club members. Me would be great. And I'm looking at getting a new rimless long tank with the money I want. I also got a new rimless cube. So I have the tank from the competition Dustin hooked me up with at a reasonable deal because he's a kind guy. I also have some of the filters from that. So if you're in town, you need an extra filter, hit me up. I've got 3 of the filters from there. You didn't want to fly them back. So the quarries, I don't have footage that I can legally share. It's a complicated story. Yes, and I won the competition. So, sorry, I'm itchy. I touched something in one of my tanks that I think I'm allergic to because my face gets all itchy whenever I work in one of the tanks. But I think it's an algae, actually. But in any case, yes, I won the competition. It came down to a tie between me and this other guy. And I can't remember his name right off the top of my head because none of us had met. But he and I tied, and then there was a revote, and then I won, I'll say happily. So thanks. Yeah, that was really fun. There's some live video of it. I posted a video of the actual, like, I was filming because I thought the other guy was going to win, and I should get it and be gracious or whatever. And then I was like, I won? Oh my gosh, I haven't ever done this before. Rad. Okay, cool. But I do feel like as much as normally I try to say like I didn't deserve it, everyone else worked as hard. Everyone did work as hard. But I did do something that a lot of people didn't do, which is I brought fish, shrimp, and snails, and nobody else brought anything living like that. No organisms other than plants. So I do feel like that kind of gave me a little bit of an edge, and it tied the colors together. When I got into the contest, I tried to put my my wood in that had been sitting in this tank for months, and it had no problem whatsoever. And it ended up not sinking. It floated right to the top. So did the Monte Carlo that I had fluffed out into be a canopy for this little false bonsai tree that I made out of spider wood. It had sunk in my tank for like months, and it was fine. I kept the truck warm. Did you get to take the winning tank home? Yeah, I did. I'll show it to you. While we're talking about it, I'll show it to you because, yeah, it's kind of dark. I'm going to have to go down into my carport really quick. But it's a nice tank. It's by Planet Tanks, which is a pun on planted tanks, kind of. And it was cut from glass that was off of a 200-pound or 200-gallon, I think it was good to 2,000-pound tank that it was cut off of the glass and then custom made for the event. Come on, light, turn on. Okay, so let me flip you around here. and see if we can see the tank. Yeah, great. Hold on. I'll get some light on it. Bear with me, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm still here. One sec. Let me rotate the tank so it's in the light. They're really heavy because they were made super sturdy. So, all right. It's going to be a little dark, but you'll get the idea. So, these were the tanks that we won. The glass, as you can see, is like for ginormous tanks. And it's all low iron, hand assembled. The seams are really tight. It keeps yelling at me to rotate device. I'm sorry if that's erroring with you guys. But yeah, so I took home my rockscape and the sand in the tank, which was kind of a little bonus because I drove Dustin around town. I got that at cost. But these were cut out of large extra pieces of glass after a big custom tank. And they have a nice wooden frame on the bottom that has like a rubber mat. And they're rimless. They're 7.8 gallons, I think, with the filter that they had on them, like 7.5 is the actual glass. And they're real sturdy. My wife doesn't particularly want me to set this one up in the house. And so I'm kind of waiting to pick my battles. I may try to sell this and get like a 22 long Do Aqua or Mr. Aqua or something, like a 12 by 12 by 36, or a larger cube, because you can't really raise much other than shrimp in this. And if I'm gonna have another tank, I always love raising other stuff. That being said, I could put this in like the bathroom or the guest bedroom or the kitchen counter and do like some celestial pearl danios and some like specialty shrimp or something, which will be coming up soon. Let me move that thing back under the carport where it's protected. It's really heavy with that glass. The tank probably weighs, I'm not kidding, 60 pounds. It's pretty crazy. So, all right, we're going back inside now. It's cold out here. Yes, I love the nano fish. I'm all about the nano fish. Right now I've got big fish that will become, or little nano fish that will become big fish. But so the morning of, let me just illustrate this while I'm down here. Morning of, I'm getting ready for the competition. I've got my box of gear in my hands, ready to go. I hit this thing and I trip. Then I step to here, try not to fall. I pull back up and my rocks slide and smash my fish in the bag right before I'm going to the contest. So I lost, and it was like all the rocks slid, and I lost four blue dreams, like that were really nice that I paid like $8 for. And then I also lost a couple lemon tetras, and I also lost my dignity. And then I lost 2 celestial pearl danios and a gold ring danio also. So that was a bummer. So then I rushed inside, got more stuff, got more fish, tried to come out. So I was feeling kind of deflated and like discombobulated. But that morning, or the morning before, I had an unboxing from H2O Plants, which was pretty cool. And that was fun. So you can see here, before I show you the babies, here is a Pelvicachromis, Tenaetius or Tenaetius, and who needs dignity? That's right. Here's a Pelvicachromis, Tenaetius, Nigerian red subspecies. The water is a little mucky right now because I actually added, this substrate's been in a friend's tank for 6 months or so, or 4 months, and I added it to this tank because I have some new plants and shrimp that are gonna need it, which I will show you shortly. But some of these plants, like the aromatica here, Limnophilia aromatica. What's up with the video? What's going on with the video? Is it doing something weird? But in any case, the this purple plant, it smells great. It smells earthy and kind of like licorice or something. It's aromatica, but it needs to be in substrate rather than grainy and wonky. I wonder if that's depending on where you are. This water is a bit murky. Does it look clearer when I come back? Okay, yeah, it's probably just our connection. Sorry about that. We'll try to move slow. Yeah, the autofocus is awful when you're in, and this is the front camera. Like, it's using the better of the two cameras, but it is awful on YouTube. It doesn't let you do anything. But okay, so here's a Nigerian red crib, an adult. He's doing fine. He's a little bit, he's chewing on some sand. I think maybe he's trying to decorate this new pot that I put in. I'm just always trying to give them new spots because they haven't reproduced yet. And it's kind of a, like, weird, like, why haven't they reproduced yet? They're always in the mating mood and their parameters are perfect. Right now, they're probably stressed because I fiddled around with everything to get plants out for the competition. But you can see we've got baby fry. So this Endler here, who always puts on a beautiful show, the Japanese blue leertail or lyre-tail, has bred with both my orange rainbow and my blue Dumbo ear with a flame tail female. So they're all females other than him. So we'll have also a bluegrass female. So we'll have a whole batch of babies that are crossed with his blue Japanese Endler genes. So that should be really fun. I'm excited to see what these fry grow up to be and then select from there. And probably actually I'm going to be bringing them to friends' houses who have more room. So here's the star of the day. Do pots do anything to the parameters? Sometimes some clay or terracotta pots can reduce your pH a little bit. I suppose they could increase it if there's like high calcite in the clay that they use, but I've seen it drop it a little bit more than anything else. I was told these have been reclassified. Yes, so as of me visiting Aquazen on the weekend and my buddy Steve, who was the owner, who got me these fish originally, got me the other set 2 months ago, they at that point were classified as Pelvicachromis, Tenaetius, Nigerian red. Now they're all going to be called Pelvicachromis striped Kribensis or just Kribensis, and then have species and then or strain, and then they'll have the river or lake or basin name. So these will be, those other ones will be Nigerian red, which is still too vague. There's several types of Nigerian red, so they will become probably like Nigerian or Cameroon, Ogallala Valley or Agiwa or something like that, one of the towns or rivers where they're found. These happen to be Pelvicachromis, Tenaetius, and then they're Moliwe, Moliwe. I hope I'm saying that right. Small town in Cameroon. They're found closer to the salt water, and these ones have way more sexual dimorphism. So the males will grow to yay big, like 4.5 inches. The other one, that the father of these was pushing 5 inches, which is kind of nuts. And the mother was like 2.5 inches, and she was beautiful. She looked very similar to my Nigerian reds, except she didn't have a yellow lip. Also, I wanted to show you while they're out and about. So I put my cold shrimp in this tank, and what do you know? They're growing at warp speed. Like, I thought I wouldn't ever see them again. I put them in there as no longer Pelvicachromis, just Tenaetius Kribs. Okay, I'll need to check that out. Thank you for the info. He informed me just the other day, and he was kind of like, I don't know what they're going to settle on. It's changed like 4 times according to him. So I'll have to track all that down and figure out what the scoop is. Thank you. So yeah, these little shrimp, I'm going to show you how big the other ones are that are the same exact age in the other place, in the other holding cell or tank. And I put some of these ones I thought had no color, first of all. And putting them in here, they've exploded with color compared to where they were in the shrimp only tank. I think eating all the droppings of the fish and the algae and just a more mature tank with a fuller ecosystem of plants and light and things, you can see though they've actually got decent cherry red shrimp colors rather than being like borderline just clear wild types. They've filled in red, and also some are pretty darn good looking Riley or Riley shrimp. So that one is like an inch long, and I moved them. Same with the one back there. This originally was my painted fire tank. Then it got too hard and I didn't want anything expensive in here. So now it will be my generic cherry tank, I think. And if they can reproduce in there, more power to them. But I also got an assassin snail that happened to come with the new Kribs here. And let me just see if I can, there's a weird LED lighting thing going on with bars, but if you can see them, they've got really interesting stripes. So they have that same lateral stripe, but it's broken up into like dots or a chain. And so statistically speaking, if you have 6 fish, which I do here, you will have over a 95% chance of having both male and female, assuming that your first mix was 50-50 on the genders. Now, these ones are about 2 months old. They've been with their mother and father nonstop in a community tank that was a 40-gallon. And so this is a 40-gallon. It's a busy tank, but everybody's going to be smaller than them. And I'll have to take them out as the problem children probably before worrying about them, I would assume. The only exception to that might be the gudgeons, who are supposed to be peaceful, but as everybody knows on this channel, I have Mickey and Mallory Knox, the most violent, peaceful fish in the world. So, yeah. Oh, hold on. Bacter AE is amazing. It really got all the shrimp out and eating. I am going to see if indeed it increases growth and survival of shrimp. I'm excited to see. Is bacteria good for bamboo shrimp? It depends. All of that depends. If you have a healthy ecosystem, a balanced tank, then yes, the good bacteria is stuff they're going to eat. And when there's not enough ammonia present in the water or nitrates or, things like that they break down, the kind that break down coliform or fish poo and things like that, the negative bacterias, then the shrimp can eat those, and when they die and they form oofucks, which are like colonies or biofilms, some living, some dead, some almost like coral where it can like build a layer of algae and plankton and bacteria and fungi. It's kind of an interesting process, and but yes, filter feeding, especially fan shrimp, appreciate the more little floaty dealies in the water, the better, really. So yeah. Albino and Wari, is that how you say that? Wari or Wari Kribs. Somebody said they have an albino and a Wari Krib. So I'm gonna do this live. So these guys have acclimated plenty long enough, and we're gonna let them go. Cue the music. We'll have a born free as the mountains, as free as the... Oh, they're just gonna dart out like no one's business once they realize what's going down. Come on. Come on, guys. Alright, is that all of them? Yeah, and the assassin snail, I'm not worried about him. I might utilize him elsewhere for more diabolical plans. So my hope is that these little guys stay together. Let me give you some info in case anybody was watching to learn about them. You can see now how busy this tank is, but I promise part of the reason why it's so busy, let me stabilize and get kind of situated so you don't have to worry about the shaking. I have heavily planted tanks with low nitrates, but I have fish in with shrimp and zero ammonia. I do feed heavily, but I feel my shrimp are not reproducing. Your fish are definitely eating your shrimp is what's probably happening. If you make some more rock hides, like down in here, get some more like pebble size that are in between this size and gravel, and make spots that like maybe something the size of, here's my pinky, here's like a little albino ram's horn snail. Get stuff that small of shrimp can hide in, as well as just plant the heck out of the tank. Like this brambly pennintifada, or these root systems, things like that are under then another layer of this stuff. That will help you with your baby shrimp survival if you make those little rock hides and caves. I also utilize over here, if you can see it under everything, I bury it under sticks so the big fish don't bother, and then I bury it with like hornwort and water sprite, things like that. And then there are holes in this. It's like a lava rock, if you can see that on top. There's catfish hanging out there now, but that's where the gudgeons reproduce. And then also this whole wall here of rock is hollow behind, and it gets progressively smaller. So the gudgeons are breeding up there now because they've had bred down there and they've moved. They have caves and lots of hidey holes and not wood. What kind of fish do you have in there, Cape Cod? I'm curious. And how many shrimp did you start with, and what kind? Because all that can have a role. Also, when you feed them, feeding at night. Oh, platies are really nippy. Guppies are too, honestly. I know people say you can raise them together, but my guppies take out more of my shrimp than a lot of other things. I mean, you could, if I were you, if you can, I'd try something smaller with a smaller mouth. Like even these rainbow fish, which are way bigger than a lot of platies, they have teeny mouths. These lemon tetras are like, they want to eat shrimp for, every meal. But, okay, so just on the side note, we've got those Kribs out and about. They seem to be doing good. You can see they've got those blue fins below. Sounds like my wife is home, so she might say hello in a minute here. But so let me quickly run down. I will answer more of your shrimp questions in just a moment about how we can help get your numbers up higher. See, they're kind of schooling, which is what I would hope for. And I almost put them in with the other Kribs, thinking that they might imprint, but I didn't want to throw off the breeding cycle on the adults. So, or have some sort of competition where the male goes nutso and murders them, eats them. So in this tank, those Kribs, they come from slow rolling streams, tributaries, lakes, and ponds on the equatorial region of Africa, on the west central African coast, Cameroon, Gabon, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria. You can find those dwarf cichlids all throughout those regions. These ones are specifically in Cameroon, and they are near where the ocean meets the streams, but there's a row of mountains that feeds into there. And so since they get such intense what's up, the small species of endlers? Yeah, totally. Small species of endlers seem to get along okay with shrimp. If they're moving mid-water, shrimp then tend to get nailed because they look like a fishing lure to them. If the shrimp are just posted up doing their thing and they learn to crawl rather than swim and jump all over the place, then they seem to do better. I don't see many shrimp in the daytime in this tank cruising around. They all kind of walk wherever they're going, unless it's darting away from something. But all these little shrimp have hung out in plain sight where they could easily be eaten by the Siamese algae eater, or potentially the tetras or the rummy nose or the lemons. But back to the other fish. So the pH in that water is usually pretty neutral. It can be slightly basic, it can be slightly acidic, but it's mostly rainwater and coming out of the mountains, as well as just floodplains. And so they live in flooded grassy swamps and flooded forests. They like darker light, so I wanted to make sure that they had a tank where they could hide with less light. They also like tannins in the water, but a moderate to low TDS. And then they need a little bit of moving water, so even just a sponge filter or hang off the back is fine at a medium setting. But temperature wise, ideally you want to keep them 72 or 3 up to about 80 degrees, with 76 or 78 being ideal for breeding. With Kribs, a lot of times a little bit of warm water will encourage them to breed, and also feeding them fresh live fish, or not fish, sorry, shrimp or daphnia or plankton is a great way, or worms, microworms, is a great way to encourage their breeding in most cases, because their babies eat that. And so they're looking, if you know, all fish do better and reproduce more when their needs are met, but more importantly their offspring's needs are met. So when the little babies are ready to be put into a tank, the parents kind of know, and oftentimes they're waiting for those cues. So having daphnia, having things like that in your tank will really help out. So I'm going to take you over here into the tank that has escaped the most damage during this aquascaping event. You can see here, it's so bright that you probably can't even tell, but I have a completely white, it's not albino, but it's clear, pond snail that I've allowed, and he's pooping, that's great, that I've allowed to get large. I also have a new ancestris. He is next to a Moliwe shrimp. Also, he is supposedly a calico, but I think he's a super red that got mixed with, you can't see in this light, but it's pretty extreme orange. And what I wanted to show you is, so now we've got Moliwe shrimp in here, we've got one crystal red, here's a Moliwe, and we have pregnant Moliwe shrimp. Yes, these are teeny plecos. And then we also have blue Neocaridina, blue dreams, with those endlers that just, I think they look rad together, buzzing by. They have also had babies, those endlers. So the endler babies are all hanging out down low in the foliage down here, as are a lot of the baby blue shrimp. So no, I didn't mix shrimp colors per se. What I've done is I've mixed shrimp species. So blue dream Neocaridina, Moliwe, which are a different species. They're a Caridina, but they're far enough away. I believe they might be an adipo. I'll have to double check that. They're far enough away that they can be kept with my newest edition, which are not high grade at all. But, and I wish this camera would focus better on YouTube. Yeah, so these three can't cross. And actually, I'm hoping to add some my mouth is, my tongue, I'm tongue-tied. Bulbati shrimp. I'm hoping to get some of the green Indian ones, but I'd love to have like 5 different kinds of shrimp and trying to keep them in the same parameters. So this is a bit of an experiment. I'm taking care of my friend's 17 fish tanks while he's going back home to a country in Southeast Asia, and so this is kind of, he gave me these as a thank you. So I'm putting 2 in here. And we're going to release them also live. Be free, shrimpies. So these are just crystal blacks, but they've been crossed. Their line is contaminated with what is it? Tangerines, I want to say, or tigers. I can't remember which. So I'm not worried about it. This is more of a test run. I have not had them in this tank yet. The Caridina species. Like crystals, Caridina, or bees or bolts or anything like that. And so the water's fairly neutral. The TDS is low, but the calcium's got to be high enough and everything for the plants and the fish. So we'll see what happens. Seattle water is very, very soft, low TDS. You can basically add whatever you want. I just wanted to show you how some of my CPDs are coloring up. Even though my camera is not showing this well, they have just gotten beautiful, and they've come back. Hey, first time watching live, like your videos. Thank you so much. Viola Hopsalot, is that how you say it? I have some light greens and some weird colors with lots of solid blacks. Some look like they're orange, but almost no carbon release. Oh, for mixing, is that what's up, Cape Cod? If you want some more... Wait, hold on. I lost the chat. This chat is awful. If you want some more Michelins... yeah, Chase, I would love that, man. If you want me, since you're in my neck of the woods... I'd love to check out your place, and maybe I can show some other people your place if you're cool with that. If you got some setups, I saw some pictures, yeah, some Michelins. I mean, maybe it'd just be fun, you know, to see what happens. These guys are kind of the canaries. Also, I got another 2 of them, and pardon this apocalyptic looking tank at the moment. It's not as bad as you think. What it is I got the pH down to like 6. Because I got what was it, ADA? No, Amazonia, I believe, is what he used. Substrate with some other substrate that my friend had, and this tank was at around 6.5 or 7, and so now we've dropped that down considerably. And the Neocaridina don't seem to give a darn either way. They'll be fine. They're hardy. This was my random coal pen for now until I take them to the pet store nearby. Sometimes I've got a relationship with the pet store owner that he's cool enough that he'll like let me, you know, sell him some of these low-grade shrimp, and he'll sell them cheap, which is great. Although one is purple, like dark purple, which is kind of cool behind that blue one. Also, there's the gudgeon babies, ironically, still in here. They're still too small to do any damage, but you can actually make out now that they are gudgeons with the finnage. Let's see if focus. Gosh, the YouTube live camera is awful. Okay, so you can see that yellow. That looks to be an Endler to me, though. So I don't know how that could have happened. Maybe it got stuck on the moss just now. But yeah, so then we've got the blue-colored crystal that he gave me, and then another yellowish-orange set of maybe tangerine or just muddied-up crystalline black crystal Caridina. So we'll see. I don't know what'll happen with these ones. Also, because his water parameters, he cranks the CO2 up to like 40 plus parts per million. And yeah, so thanks. Only have 1 red cherry shrimp right now to see if it can survive in my tank. So far, it's been a month. So yeah, you're probably good after a month. I've kept crystal red in here with the cherry, and this tank just looks so bad right now. I almost didn't want to show it to you guys because it's just cloudy because of the new substrate that just went in. And it's not new substrate as in all the ammonia's gone, and that's why I used older substrate, but it kind of falls apart. And so it hasn't boosted the TDS or anything, but it's not prettiest on the eyes, and it'll probably be till tomorrow till it all settles out. And that's what's going on in the other tank to a degree as well. But these guys look like they're getting along just fine. They're not like jumping to the side, but you can tell that they're not a high grade at all. It's kind of an experiment because ideally, if I know there's only 2 females in there of these, I can pull them at any time, and then I can put something else in there if need be. So I got a couple cool things, you know, by helping out my buddy who's, he's got to go back home for a while. He's having some emergency issues with family and things. So back in here, well, you can see there's a very, very teeny blue shrimp. Yet again, doing better than in my shrimp hatchery tank. I think just having that full ecosystem is, yeah, even though they're low grades, they are pretty, I agree. Just like Moliwe shrimp are, like, people don't want them a lot of times because they're pink or gray or brown, but I think they're cool. And they clean blackbeard algae, like not super fast, obviously, but I watch them clean it. And so the real star of this tank with this is that local jade. Yet again, the color's not looking super strong because of the YouTube camera thing rather than recording in HD on my own. But these blue shrimp are just gorgeous, and so I'm really, they're the ones that I want to breed. Once they're pregnant, they'll go down into this tank, unless I have like 3 or 4 pregnant, but at least a couple when they're pregnant. Anyone around here from Cleveland, Ohio? I don't know that, I don't think anyone is, but I mean, Ohio, Flip Aquatics, plus Indiana has, in Indianapolis, you got Lucas Bretz, who's got some killer stuff. And actually, these blue shrimp, I got some from Aquarium Zen and then some from Lucas Bretz. And the ones from Lucas Bretz are the truest blue bred shrimp you can get. Other thing I wanted to remind people is if you're on my Patreon, just helping support this whole little project and these videos and the history and the updates, then I am going to give people first dibs. If they want to pay shipping, they definitely get first dibs on everything. And then depending on what level they're backing, I'm going to be giving away some fish and some shrimp in short order here. So yeah, the other thing is I've got to do some culling of the non-albino ram's horns that are in here, but they were a star of the aquascaping thing. They're pink and opalescent and stuff, and you can tell when they have too white of a shell that your calcium is low, and so that's a good way to kind of judge your calcium. And then how many babies are being born is a good way to judge if you're overfeeding the tank or whatever, or if there's too much microfauna and flora going on. You can see I'm getting a little bit of algae growing on the back there. So I need to dial in a couple things, but let's see here. I purchased a buttload of low-grade cherry shrimp on eBay, and they turned out to color up so much that they're a deep dark red now. They turned fantastic. I think I paid 20. Yeah, people, now cherry shrimp have become very inexpensive, and people, I think a lot of times when shrimp are stressed or when they're just like not kept well, they don't look like they really should, and those genes can be in there. Even with these Michelins, like, even though they're not like real white, like true white, where did they even go? I think they're already gone hiding, but they're not like a real true white colored shrimp, white and black, but they may have the genes, you know, a generation or two removed to put out something phenomenal. So yeah, that's always just something to think about. Also, we have more of, this is Lucas Brett's line, if lrbaquatics.com. If you go buy anything from him, just tell him I sent you. Just, I like him to know how much I care about the work he does. So here is another, these are the Moliwe shrimp, and you can see sometimes they have a nice kind of like amber color, spotted. They get different patterns. They change color, so they're anywhere from like a pinkish tan all the way to a dark brown or clear. And here's another one that's clear because it's up by the light right now, so it has turned clear. But they won't interbreed, and they're the same exact size as the blue Neocaridinas. And I happen to have, out of the 5 I got about a month ago, 2 are pregnant currently that I saw cruising around the tank. So it's good to know that they propagate easily also. Speaking of New York and selling and buying, a lot of these plants in here, there's some new ones from h2oplants.com, so if you didn't see that video, check it out. Also, Aquarium Zen in Seattle, which I usually shop at, we were able to kind of get a little bit of a hookup, good deal going on. And this chasing I haven't seen go on in this tank before between those little Danios, so I'm going to have to work on that. So it looks like the shrimp is going towards the heater, which is odd because it's already a little bit warmer end than he's used to. But I'll keep an eye on these, see how they do. I think sometimes the mutts and stuff have they do better than the purebreds. You know, they've got different genes from different backgrounds rather than all the same family. But I got new moss. I've got Christmas moss, flame moss, and Riccia fluitans, as well as some Pogostemons hell fry, couple new Kribs, including where is it? We've got a more bronze colored Krib coming up through there. This is Rotala indica, pink, and then there's Rotala rotundiphilia, southern Vietnam, that is coming up with slight pink in it, almost like a dusty orangish tangerine color with some pink on the tips. And then from above you can probably see, you can see the color better. The light's not washing it out. But we also have a whole variety of just different plants that I've got like one of each that I'm kind of growing to see how they do. And whatever does well and prospers, then, you know, I pick those in the future to spread out. I really like the Peninfada. Let's see, you can see how much of it I have there. I was really going for red and maroon and bronze in this tank, and then the turquoise stone. So there's a little bit much of the bright green right now, and I need to dial that in. I also need to trim down these. This is a beautiful aromatica here. It's purple, bright purple, and it is just, it smells good, it looks good, it's growing quickly. It's very delicate. It fell apart on me at the aquascaping contest just transporting it. So main thing is I want these leopard endlers that I've kind of mutated into my own little sub thing. What was my substrate? So I have shipment coming tomorrow from Flip Aquatics bamboo shrimp. Oh, cool. Well, congrats. That should be fun. The substrate going on here is a whole mix of fluorite. There's a little bit of ADA in there left over from another tank, and then there is mostly just gravel, root tabs, and sand, because this tank is so heavily rock that I move things around a lot and I don't want it to get all muddy. So that way it doesn't look like this whenever I move stuff around. This tank, you might be able to see the shrimp in here now finally. But like we have some blues that just didn't make the cut, some reds that weren't making the cut, but maybe in that other tank they will. We've also got like the painted fire adults that are out in the main tank here. And then there's also some very teeny, well, now it's gone, tangerine shrimp that are in there, as well as a couple blues that are just growing so painfully slow. And I don't know how pure their line is, and I don't know if I'll keep them. But for the free giveaway that I mentioned like a couple weeks ago now, there's that white snail going to town on that back wall. But for that free giveaway, it's when these Endler babies... Oh, and now you can see the stripe going on, hopefully, maybe. Well, you guys can't see it like I can, but these red ram's horns are really beautiful. They've got like a swirl in their shell. But if anybody knows where to get some more yellow sakura shrimp at a good price, or anything interesting like a good blue line, like blue dream line, I'm gonna buy some from Lucas, I think is the goal ultimately. But I really would love a yellow sakura line that's super electric bright. I have small size rocks. Do plants work better in bigger gravel? No, they like smaller gravel generally. Baby shrimp and things like that can hide in, this is what I would consider larger gravel. And some plants work okay in that, others don't. Depends on how mature your tank is. If you're gonna do that, don't gravel vac your tank all the time. Like let it get a mold, as they call it. of fish poop that's been neutralized by good bacteria and just plant matter. But just make sure that your tank is balanced while it's accumulating that. Otherwise, it can just be a dirty mess. So the other night I recorded a video of all these fish just schooling in HD, and I think I'm going to upload that too, and people can put it on mute and put on their own music or whatever. Sorry, it's going to get a little loud. My wife's cooking in the other room. I'm proud of her. She's sticking to a hardcore workout routine, and she is more of a more dedicated than I am. So in here, we've also got some, what are the bluefish? Oh, so that's a Japanese endler. That is the Japanese endler. Oh, good. The Krib is taking advantage of the little rock ledge. It's exactly what I hoped he would do. He is digging it out, and that's good. I don't know where the female is. She has been hiding, and so I'm going to look for her just to make sure she's okay. But as I said, this whole scape was completely ruined when I went to the aquatic show, so I really pulled a lot of stuff out, and some I'm trying to nurse back to health, and I don't know if it will make it or not, but we'll find out. Also, I was sent some blue to black colored ram's horn snails by a fellow viewer, Stefan, out in Indiana. Indiana? Yeah, Indiana. And that was awesome. I love that surprise that he sent those out to me. That was really cool. So I wanted to thank him again. I called him and talked to him, but wanted to thank him and show you guys those, because I got the red ones and now these blackish jade color ones that are just really cool. And then in here we've got red tiger lotus. We've got more of the miniature version of the Limnophilia aromatica. I think I have all the shrimp out of here, and I want to put yellow in here. Yellow sakuras maybe, and then some sort of Caridina if I can balance that out. But really the Kribs are the main priority in this tank. So yeah, also what else is going on in here? Lots of crypt species that you saw, a lot of interesting stem species. We've got a little bit of boost, we've got some wavy green. Where's the pink snail? The pink snail they're hanging out over here. They're not showing up right. Like, my color's not adjusting well tonight. But the pink snail's back here. So, yeah, and welcome to anybody who's new on here. It means a lot to me that y'all watch and that you're a part of this community. And, you know, this is another example. Right now, I'm looking at these shrimp, and this one looks too dark for my taste. Now, I can tell it's a blue, but it's almost like a dark purple or navy blue. And I think I'm going to pull it and put it in with the other shrimp because it's interesting that the new shrimp is like right on the glass in front. It's a weird spot for a shrimp. I hope he's not like gone loco crazy. Hold on one moment. Let me set you guys down while I fish out that one shrimp, because let's see. Let me try to stabilize this somehow. Alright, just hang tight for just a sec. This will take just one moment. If I miss, I'm not going to spend any more time on it. Do we have him? Can we confirm that we have him in the net? No, we cannot. It's okay. My concern on these tanks usually is if I have a really different looking male than the rest. The females I don't so much mind because I can put them down into the nursery tank, monitor their offspring. If I decide that they're going to be real crazy out there, then I don't have to worry about it. But yeah, okay, let me move you from there. Sorry for neglecting you guys. How about giveaway? Yeah, oh yeah, so what I was going to say about the giveaway is, so for the people who are on my Patreon, they have access to, so anything that you see that I have an abundance of, like if you're like, yo, I'd really like one of those CPDs, I'll try to send it to you, you know, but you got to pay shipping if that's the case. Now, once you've backed me long enough that it justifies the shipping and a little bit of my costs, then I'll send some free things out to the longer term, bigger backers, like $5 or whatever. And also the plants I can send out a lot cheaper, and the snails. So once they reach a good level, I can start doing more giveaways and stuff like that. And really, basically, I'm really trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark just as a personal goal right now. It also opens up some chat and link features and stuff that I can do. It's also like a monetization threshold thing, but I'm not, you don't really make that much money off of that anyways. It's the Patreon that is, you know, the $15 that, you know, folks have been given $1 here, $1 there, and that means a ton because, you know, that's food for the fish. If I get, you know, if I ever get up there extra, I'd love to put some CO2 on here. I've been doing experiments for y'all. The experiment of putting an algae-filled tray in the shrimp tank didn't work. They didn't grow any faster. So that was the end of that. You could tell within a week and a half that that wasn't going to work. So, but putting them in the big tank definitely does if they survive it. But these little, well, with that new video of aquariums in, it should push you over the edge. I love it so much. I shared it with them. Oh, dude, yeah, those lights that, dude, if you can get a twin star light, if you can afford it, those are just beautiful, elegant, especially if you've got rimless tanks. I don't have any rimless tanks yet. I really, I don't want to be like talking too much about money because I know that's whiny, but like I'm nowhere near that league of having dedicated CO2 and rimless tanks. My CO2 right now, the best thing I have is like the free sample 45 gram. And I really, that's another thing that like I could really introduce some new plants if we ever raise the money on Patreon over time, really get going like crazy with the plants. So that would be fun. And I could get more colors and stuff like that that you don't necessarily see without that CO2. But I'm still, for low-tech tanks, and some of them not even dirted, I just think that, you know, because of you guys watching, it really fuels me to try to get creative. This one is probably my most aquascapey looking tank, if you will. It's in the Iwagumi style, and it follows the rules of the Iwagumi aesthetic, as well as the feng shui and the golden spiral / ratio. It has elements of all that. I don't claim to be an expert, but I did pay some attention to their writings and to their sketches. I gotta go. I'm gonna enjoy some time with my wifey, who I love, and stop talking about. Ooh, yeah, Teespring. So the other thing I do is a lot of art. So maybe I will start. You can look a few thumbnails back in my videos and check out the art. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing links. If you guys are doing that, that means the world to me, especially like the other people's projects. That's always cool because, you know, it's one thing to like selfishly help yourself, but it's another where like if I can help out the local business like Aquariums and Steve, who's been really nice to me and got me, you know, like these fish, which were really hard to find around here. And he's taught me a lot. And his shop is just inspirational for like someday when I have more money, I will totally get rimless, twin star, just super clean, you know? So yeah, man, if you want to come by, hit me up. I'm on vacation, but we'll be back on the 13th. Okay. All right, man, Chase. Let me know when you're back if you want. Just let me know when you're situated. And yeah. Hey, if your friends are coloring book people on Facebook, I have 2 published coloring books, the psychedelic coloring book, and then The Fungus Among Us. Both are on Amazon, but both are also on an old website of mine called Soma Inc. SOMAINK.com. And you can buy those. They're on really high grade paper, so you can use whatever medium you want, from paint to Sharpie to crayons to colored pencils. It's smooth 120 pound cover stock, and there's 32 images, which you can also just frame. Let's see if we've got any framed right in here. I don't think we do right now. But another walkthrough video, I showed people some of my art. I'm going to start doing more specifically anatomical drawings of the creatures that we're talking about, and maybe try to raise some funds through t-shirts or things like that. Teespring is great, but it's like $2 or $3 a shirt usually, which, like, that's great because it's affordable, but it does take a long time if you have to figure that then there's a percentage taken out by them on top of that, and then I have to pay 30% taxes. Same with like anything on Patreon or any YouTube revenue. I was talking to Dustin, and I don't want to say the exact amount, but he can't even live off of what he clears with his just YouTube for his family. And he's like a big guy up there, so he's got all his side hustles and his his other plant business and appearances, and that's a hard-working dude. Same to all the people out there like Rachel O'Leary and Joey Waru, So shout out to them. We're gonna do a real quick hello to my wifey, because you're all saying I want to see your wife.
Hi.
So this is my wifey. Let's see your shirt, honey. Somebody asked if somebody's in Ohio, if anybody was from Ohio. So where are you from in Ohio, honey? Oh, you know, you cross it over.
Dublin, Ohio.
Everyone says hello. Hi, wife. Hello. Hello.
I wasn't prepared for this. I am not dressed accordingly.
No, she dressed up. She spent an hour getting ready for this interview, actually. Usually she's the troll. No, I'm just kidding. I love my wife.
Wow.
She's the most beautiful, wonderful, perfect person in the world. Someone's in Walbridge, Ohio. Do you know where that is, hon?
I don't.
Well, welcome to Walbridge, or welcome to my house from Walbridge. And someone else is in Solon, Ohio. Solon.
I think I know where that is.
South of Toledo. Oh, I've spent some time in Toledo and Perrysburg. I spent a week in Perrysburg when my car broke down. But we've got some delicious looking food going on. Am I allowed to eat some of this delicious food?
You.
Oh my goodness. Well, I gotta leave you guys there because my lovely wifey, who puts up with my fishy projects north of Perrysburg, all right, has cooked me a nice little, what is this, turkey patty? Chicken patty, and broccoli, and delicious. So I gotta go. You know what'd make this really good would be some really young deconstructed Kribensis fry. You know, that'd be good. Kribensis fry would just be delicious on this burger. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. Thanks for watching, as always. Thanks for being a part of my life. I'm gonna sit down to dinner here with my wife. Don't you think an ADA tank would look great there? Someday I'll get enough gigs going in this town. Maybe rent will go down someday, right, honey?
Never.
Want. Our rent's gone up like 500% in 5 years. It's gone from what, 50%. It's 50% more than when I moved in 4 years ago to this place. So Seattle's gone bonkers. I'll stop whining about money. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It means a lot to me. If you have questions, concerns, comments, whatever, if you want to share your stuff with me, I just started an Instagram too that's now linked. And yeah, so check that out. I'm hoping to be doing more videos, back to some history videos. I still got some material that I haven't released that I did with Dustin, but some of it is like he wanted to have it exclusively for his channel, or there were interviews set up specifically where the person talking wanted it to be on a large platform rather than my smaller channel. So yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your fish. Take care of your loved ones. And swim on. I'll talk to you next time.